Hello and welcome to episode 80 of Daryl Show Your Work. So in this episode, I will be exploiting the Windows SMB protocol using a remote command line utility known as PsExec. Exec. All right. So as usual, anytime I'm doing any type of offensive security or red teaming related activity, I always like to preface it with a disclaimer that this is for research, educational, and ethical purposes only. Any sort of malicious activity that may come from someone, may come directly and indirectly from someone watching my video here, I do not take responsibility for, nor do I condone. All right. So, in order to get started here, I'm going to give a very high-level overview of what both SMB and PsExec is. So SMB is actually short for server message block. And what that is, it's a network sharing protocol for accessing files and printers over a network, and is mostly commonly used in Windows environments. Or so modern SMB dialects, they run on TCP port 445. However, there's some older ones that also run on TCP port 193, where if you're doing any sort of enumeration activities or see that port open, it may come back as NetBIOS over TCP IP. So that's why sometimes you may see both of those ports open and they're both related to the SMB protocol. All right, so prior to the video, I've already done some enumeration and I found a target here. So our target address is actually here at 10.3.31.104. So that is our target host for this video. All right, so to get started, I'm going to first run some enumeration on this target host, and I'm going to see if indeed those two ports that I mentioned are one or both of those are open for me to try to continue to do some more enumeration activities and potentially exploit. All right. So the first thing that I'm going to use here is nmap, and then I'm going to run a service scan on that. All right. So let's paste our target host IP address here. All right, so let's give this a few seconds to run. And just to forewarn you, it is one of the scans that I'm going to be doing is going to run a little long in this video. But I'll warn you when I get there. Kind of feel like I did that in the last video and it didn't run as long as I thought it would. So take it for what it's worth. You could either, if it's taking too long for you, you could fast forward it, or you can sit patiently and watch the results as they come. All right, so moving on. We can see the results here. Let me scroll up a little bit. All right, so we can see that both port 445, all right, and then port 139 are both open. So that's a clear indicator that that SMB is in use. If we look down here as well, we can see that we have some messages here, some SMB related messages here, which is a further indicator that it is open and we're good to go as far as continuing this exploit. All right. So the next thing that I'm going to be utilizing here is the metasploit framework. So to get that started, I'm going to first tell it to start up the PostgresQL database for us. All right. And then I'm going to tell us to start the msfconsole, which takes us directly into the metasploit framework. Let's give this a few seconds to load up for us. All right. All right, so I'm going to create a workspace for this, and I'm going to call it SMB. All right, so just make sure. that successfully was created. Doing workspace. Okay. All right. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set our target host or remote host here as a global parameter, so I don't have to continue to set that as I use different modules here within a framework. So I'm going to say remote hosts. All right. Add that there. All right. So the first thing that I want to look into immediately. So if you notice in prior videos, the most common tactic that I like to start with is brute forcing attacks. And most times, the brute forcing attacks, they're usually the protocol name underscore login. So let's try to find a auxiliary scanner with that syntax. So I'm gonna say search SMB underscore login. All right, and it takes us straight to it. So SMB login check scanner. Okay, so this would be able to see if we can do some password guessing here and successfully log into into the remote host using SMB, and also to gain those credentials to whatever credentials it successfully finds. All right, so let's go to, let's say, use 0, since that is the only option. All right, and I'm gonna say show options because I want to see what parameters that I may need to set. All right, so I got quite a few here that I need to set. So since we're doing a brute force, I have to tell it the user file. All right, so that's going to be the word list that we're going to use in order to run against this, to be able to do some guessing as far as the the username against the word list of the common usernames, and then also the pass file. Same same thing. We're going to have to specify the path of where that word list is located, and again, that's what we're going to use to run that word list against what the actual um, passwords are. So in this instance, when I run this, usually in prior videos, I've usually stopped when I find one successful combination, but I want to show what it looks like to find multiple combinations, and that's why this scan may take a little longer than usual in my prior videos. All right, so like I said, you can hang in there and watch the passwords and usernames get cracked as we go, or you could fast forward and see what the end result is. All right, so because of that, I am going to leave stop on success as false, because if I set it to true, the first username password pair that it will find, it'll stop there, and I don't want that to happen. But I will set verbose to false, because I don't want the failed connections, or the failed password combinations and username combinations to show, and we just see a bunch of red here on my screen, and not and potentially miss the what it was actually able to find. All right, so first thing I'm going to do, let's set the user file, user underscore file. All right, and that is located in USR for user share. Metasploit-framework. Slash data word lists. And then the name of this word list is common underscore users. All right, it's a txt file. All right, so just making sure I didn't fat finger anything here. Didn't forget any S's or anything like that. Okay, we should be good to go. All right, and then I also want to set the password file. So the name of this password file is actually, no, it's actually Unix underscore passwords. Right, it's located in the same place here, but we need to change this from user file to pass file. All right, so checking, that should be good to go. Okay. All right. So if I got any of that wrong, Metasploit will come back and yell at me. All right, and then we can also see that our remote host has already been set because I set it as a global parameter, and since this is a SMB related module, that's already set to 445 as default. All right, so also the next thing I need to set is the verbose, because remember, I don't want it to show all the failures, failed login attempts, and we just want to see the successful login attempts. And we're going to leave stop on success alone, because we want, in this particular instance, I want to show the different what happens if we let it keep going, and to see just how many username password pairs it can successfully find. All right, so let's hit enter and get your popcorn, your drink, whatever, and let's get going. Oh, well, I have to actually hit exploit, don't I? All right. We got one already. So sysadmin Samantha. All right, let's wait for some more. All right, here comes another one. Demo username and password Victoria. All right, we have username auditor, and then password Elizabeth. So it seems to be the common theme here. We have the regular account names, but it seems like they all seem to be women's first names, which is very interesting. All right, we have an administrator account, and it looks like that actually has a unique password to it that doesn't follow the same password patterns as the other accounts. All right, all finished. All right, so we have quite a few, well, four different combinations of found usernames and passwords. All right, so I think I'm the most unique looking one here to use as far as trying to access SMB, the SMB protocol. I'm going to use this administrator account. Probably also plus it probably has the most privileges as well. All right, so the next thing that I want to do is now I want to use PsExec to try to successfully log in to to um, to SMB. And again, and I don't think I gave. You know what? I'm sorry, I didn't actually give a definition of PsExec like I promised in the beginning. So what PsExec is? It's a command line utility from Microsoft system internals that allows users to execute processes remotely on Windows systems. All right, so what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be just basically exploiting the remote nature of this protocol as a means to gain entry into this system here, to this Windows-based system. All right. So what I want to do is I want to search for PsExec, any sort of PsExec tools. All right. So we have quite a few. All right. So let's see. And you know what? I think number 24 here pretty much does what I'm looking to do. It says Microsoft Windows Authenticated User Code Execution. All right, and that's what I want. That's what I'm looking to do. All right, so and I'm going to try to use this exploit to log in. So I'm going to use number 24. All right, so now I'm going to go to show options because more than likely I have to give it these credentials that I just found. And yes, I do. So let me scroll up a little bit so we can see everything. All right, so good. Our host is still set. All right, and then we already have 445 set as our default port since this is still an SMB related module, but it's an exploit module. All right, so I'm gonna need to set the SMB password. That's what this is. SMB pass, and the username. I have to give that to SMB. So again, I'm going to use that administrator account and its credentials that I got back from our brute force in order to do that. And as far as SMB domain, if um if I had this, in some instances you could target specific domains. In this case, I don't have a domain that I'm going to be looking to authenticate into specifically, so I'm just going to leave that blank. And so everything else, listing host, that's us. I'm fine with the listing port being 444. So I'm just going to pretty much just set these credentials here and let it rip. So I'm going to say set SMB user, and we said that account is a capital A administrator. All right. All right, and then we're going to set the SMB password to, that was qwerty, like the keyboard setup, and then uiop, I believe it was. Okay, we're going to set it to that. Hold on, I need to, okay, I forgot to put this thing, it just sneaks stuff up. There we go. I don't know how that happened. Okay. Okay, and I'm going to show options again just to make sure nothing else goofy happened there. Okay. Okay, looks like we're good to go. Okay, so those have been set. All right, so let's try to exploit this and to get an interpreter session. And again, that's going to just establish a connection with the system, but doesn't quite take us all the way in yet. So, all right, let's see what happens. All right, looks like it's just starting up that interpreter session, and there we go. We got our interpreter session. All right, so let's just make sure that I can run some basic commands here to further enumerate the system. So let's say sysinfo to get some more information about the server that I just made a connection with. All right, so we have a computer name here. All right, and then we have our operating systems, which is Windows Server 2016. And then we see that it's running a 64-bit session. We can see the domain is a work group. All right, and then here's my interpreter sessions was 32-bit session, and there's a way that I could actually upgrade that session to a 64-bit session, but I'll show that in another video. That's beyond the scope of what it is that I'm doing here. All right, so I'm gonna say get UID. All right, so that shows I have full system authority as far as privileges. All right, and then now let's go all the way in. Let's actually go into the systems. Hit shell. All right, so you see that I'm actually in the server now. All right, so let's see if there's any flags for me to capture. All right, so we're gonna do CD, and then we're gonna go back to the root of the C drive. All right, let's do a dir to see everything that's in the C drive. And bam, second line, we got us a flag. All right, so similar to the cat command in Linux, to display the contents of that file, I'm gonna just say type and then give it the file name, which is a flag txt, and there's the flag. All right, and that brings us to the end of the video here. So the goal here was to successfully exploit the SMB protocol using the PsExec command line utility, which I successfully was able to do here. So we first we did some basic enumeration activities here against our host, our target host, all right, which revealed that indeed that port 445 of SMB was indeed open or in use by this Windows server. So then I launched the metasploit-framework and used a auxiliary scanner to brute force um, some the login credentials to that SMB server, and found actually 4 different accounts successfully was able to get those username and password combinations for 4 different accounts. I decided to use the administrator account within the next exploitation module that I found to target specifically use the PsExec utility to gain entry into the um, the target host, and that's basically exploiting that the PS execs are remote nature. All right, so once I just loaded up that module, gave it those user credentials, and was able to establish a interpreter connection with that machine. Did some further enumerations just by running some simple commands as far as sysinfo and get UID, and then executed the actual shell, and then got into the system, went to the root directory of the C drive, which I was already in, and then was able to retrieve the flag that was hidden there. And again, the flag is just representative of any sort of sensitive information that I, as an attacker, would be able to get access to and exfiltrate, once gain a foothold into the system. All right, so please like, share, and subscribe. Until most importantly, share your work. And until next time, take care of yourself and God bless.